relentless battle to banish the world's most notorious stalker website. The anonymous forum known as Kiwi Farms keeps popping back online despite a relentless campaign by transgender activists and a former insider. Can I just say this is kind of weird? This is kind of weird that they're like going on this crazy crusade to try and bring down Kiwi Farms when I think everybody knows Kiwi Farms is going to outlive every single one of these transgender activists. When he heard that Kiwi Farms had been knocked offline, Clay, a member of the anonymous online forum, was flooded with relief. I thought to myself, this hell on earth has finally been vanquished. Like, I fucking hate doxing as much as the next person, but like, hell on earth? Little fucking kiwi bird vanquished? Are you right in the head, my guy? Are you okay? Do we need another fucking New Zealand shooter? Like, what? One thing you know about Kiwi Farms is it got one of the most tolerable VTuber threads. Truly. Kiwi Farms was the Antichrist the whole time. A member of the anonymous online forum. So he signed up for Kiwi Farms and then was relieved when it got taken down. I like fucking props to Kirsche though, because despite how many times it has gotten knocked down, he has always found a way to bring it fucking back up. Like every single time. Like he's just like a crotchety old man having to restart his fucking basement generator all the time. Like these fucking kids keep egging my power lines. Most of the things posted in Kiwi Farms provided or shared by the same person. Can't keep the deer feeder down. It's hilarious how such evil people like their tubas. I mean, it's like when years ago, when people first asked me like my opinions on it, it's like, I see the value the website has. And especially after like poll got even worse than it used to be, going to the farms for up-to-date information on current happenings was just the best place to go. Because they always had more information than fucking news articles did at the opening of stuff happening. If you wanted to learn about someone as like a content creator that you were going to be interacting with, they have archives of information that go back years on like sketchy fucking people. They've outed some real pieces of shit. Yeah, like the site has value. And like if you're a piece of shit, and I guess this is kind of a hypocritical opinion, right? Like if you're a piece of shit and you're going out and you're like abusing people, you're assaulting people, you're molesting people, I'm not gonna care that much if you get doxxed, right? Like I'm not gonna care all that much if you are literally a piece of shit. I just feel like, you know, there's also some people that don't care who the person or the target is, and they'll just do it to anyone because it's fun or it's a challenge or whatever. And like I don't like that. Obviously. It's wild how much effort has been taken to conspire against a shitty forum which does nothing more defamatory or dangerous than gossip tabloids. Yeah. It's just because it's an archive website, a gossip website that they can't control. And not having control over something drives them fucking wild. They're equal opportunity offenders if they went after both Keffels and Green. Yeah, right? I like how they tried painting Kiwi Farms as anti-trans specifically for them going after Keffels when it's like, I'm sure a lot of the people on that website do hate, right? Because like, I don't blame them, but they didn't go after Keffels because they were trans. They went after Keffels because of the things Keffels was doing. They went after Keffels because they were a piece of shit. The identity was tertiary, if anything. Shitty people don't want people keeping records of their shitty behavior. Always keep records of the shitty behavior. Never let them fucking wiggle free from it, dude. I think Kirsche is right that there is literally nothing wrong with doxing. I value anonymity. Even if I wasn't a VTuber, I would still value anonymity. Like, as someone who's watched Jim for a gajillion years, I've never wanted to like find out who he is behind the avatar, because it's like, this is what he wants to present to people, this is what he feels comfortable with. Why would I try to dig for more, right? You know? Your girlfriend was doxxed on Kiwi Farms for being in a lolcows Discord. Even she isn't that against them. Oh shit, dude. Unlucky about that though. I'm sure this has been mentioned already, but you really noticed the use of anonymous to vilify people? They've been using anonymous as a way to like talk about undesirables for quite a long time. Like after the actual quote unquote anonymous like hack network shit got incredibly Redditized and CIA takeovered, and even that couldn't like make people think of Anonymous as more of a happy-go-lucky Teletubbies kind of organization. They decided to just, like, everyone I don't like is an anonymous extremist, you know? Never understood folks who desire to pry into people's lives when you should just enjoy the media and content they produce and have fun with that. I mean, I understand that some people want more and they want to know more about someone that they consume and spend so much time with, right? But personally, it's just like, I don't care. I like that people can be anonymous and feel comfortable being anonymous. And even if sometimes it can be to my own detriment, I don't want to remove that ability for people to be anonymous online. Founded in 2013, Kiwi Farms has been used to organize vicious harassment and stalking campaigns against targets including Clara Sorrenti, a transgender activist known as Keffels, and Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene, a far-right Republican. I mean, that means they're equal opportunity, though. They're for equality. They're not going after people based on an identity. They're going after people who are shit. So what's the problem here? It went down exactly 1 year ago after Cloudflare, a major tech security firm, stopped providing services, saying contributors to the forum were posting the home addresses of those seen as enemies and calling for them to be shot. But in the week that followed, Kiwi Farms scrambled to stay alive, jumping from Russian servers to a Ukrainian hosting service to Vonwatech, a Vancouver, Washington-based hosting and security company, infamous for providing refuge to 8chan, a message board notorious for white supremacist content. As it became increasingly clear that Kiwi Farms would not go down without a fight, Clay, who spoke on the condition that he be identified by a pseudonym to avoid retribution, joined forces with Liz Fong Jones, one of Kiwi Farms' fiercest adversaries, and launched a dogged campaign to keep the site offline. Over the past year, their little group of internet sleuths, trans engineers, and activists has methodically chased Kiwi Farms across servers and networks around the globe, successfully persuading more than 24 companies to drop the site. Doesn't this make them the stalkers and not Kiwi Farms? Doesn't this mean that they are the ones doing a harassment campaign against a silly little forum that basically serves as an archive and as a news resource? This makes them the harassment campaign. I don't know if they understand the irony here. I don't really know if they notice it. Their enemies are doxers. Oh my god. The good guys are a matter of perspective. I mean, maybe they do notice it, but they're just like, it's not harassment when we do it. We're on a justice campaign. We're bringing justice to the bad guys. Therefore, what we're doing is correct. When they do it, it's bad. Funny how they won't bring up the Ddosing. Despite this laborious undertaking described exclusively to the Washington Post, the site has endured, showing up for months at a time, sometimes as a mirror of itself on an entirely different URL, or as a foreign domain in countries such as Poland. The group's Sisyphean battle illustrates the lack of mechanisms for reporting online abuse, much less for banishing harmful content. It also raises serious doubts about society's ability to block any site from the global web, even one that explicitly incites violence. I don't think it explicitly incites violence. Like, I do not think that people are out there, like, literally, unironically saying, go to this person's house and fucking kill them, right? Like, that's just not happening. And these people are just complaining. Banishing harmful content raises doubts about society's ability to block any site from the global web. I don't think society should have that ability. I don't think any sites should be blocked from the global web. If somebody genuinely has a shitty idea, a terrible thing, if somebody sets up like a fucking kill all X group website, it's better that everyone knows it exists and you can see what they're doing. Is it not? Just document the dumb shit people do online? Yeah, exactly. You've been hit with this bullshit before last month. Be very careful what you associate with because the underbelly sets the standard. Oh, absolutely. Farms is pretty clear. They ban anyone who actively calls for real life activity on stuff or is caught having done it. Yeah. Like, they even have rules put into place. And like I said earlier, I hope Girsche never fucking bends over backwards. I hope he keeps fighting this even if it looks absolutely fucking ridiculous. I hope he keeps the little fluffy farmer site online as long as he possibly fucking can. Because I don't want to see these absolute scumfucks win anything. I don't want to see them gain any ground. What caused Richard Spencer to stop with the fact that people hear what he was actually saying? Richard Spencer ended up just endorsing Democrat candidates instead. He was like a fucking glowy the whole time, dude. It's only okay if it hosts cheese pizza for their benefit. What the fuck? Josh needs people he can trust. I don't think when you're in Girsche's position, you really have anyone you can trust that's new, right? Like, if he has anyone he can trust, it's somebody he's already known for literally fucking years. Like, at the position that he's in, I don't think he could really talk to any new people and assume that they would ever be talking to him with good intentions. I mean, he's been smart enough to keep the site up this long, so, like, he fucking obviously knows what he's doing. Don't bring in worm tongues. Yeah, exactly. Isn't the whole purpose of the World Wide Web to prevent them from blocking stuff from being removed? Yes. Yes, it was. Josh is in the position that Julian Assange was in a few years ago, sadly. Calling for action on the farms will get you banned. It's against their rules. Yeah. But, I mean, journalists aren't going to care about that. They're just going to see, oh, they're posting all this information about people, therefore they must really want them to get attacked. It's just like, man, don't touch the poop is a motto for a reason. Either people think Kiwi Farms is dead forever, or they think it's up and therefore it's going to remain up forever, said Fong Jones, a transgender site reliability engineer who had been targeted by the forum. Neither of those two narratives are true. Founded by Joshua Moon, a former 8chan administrator, Kiwi Farms evolved into a popular platform for creating harassment campaigns. I think Twitter has better harassment campaigns than Kiwi Farm does. Like, what did they mean by this? Its users often fixated on transgender people, relentlessly stalking and doxing them. At least 3 of its victims died by suicide. If you tell me that someone has a thread on Kiwi Farms, like a specific person has a thread on Kiwi Farms, I'm not gonna think, oh no, what are they a victim of? I'm gonna think, all right, how fucked up is this person and what did they do? Because if you get to the point of having your own thread on the farms, you've done something fucking weird, right? Like, you've got some skeletons in your closet, man. All of those are proven false and not the farms. I don't even know, like, what suicide victims they'd even be talking of, you know? Or you're fucking winning. Well, that's why I said a specific person, because, like, I know there's a VTuber thread, right? And that's just for, like, basic discussion. But it, like, you know, didn't Pippa have threads? I mean, maybe she has an offshoot thread at this point. I'm not sure. They stopped naming them because they get debunked every time. So they're just gonna lie with, like, fucking even worse information. They recognize the lefty demon tactic of do everything except call for violence. The mob will do its job, even when that isn't the actual intention. Henry has a thread. That's not a good defense. Henry has a thread. 2 of the ones they often mention are Julie Terryberry and Chloe Segal. VTuber thread is in the general discussion thread, not the lolcow one. Yeah, different sections. Timestamped, Null goes through one by one the allegations either in the Rakita Collins show or the Matty right after. You don't remember? That'd be an interesting thing to watch, because I can't remember even who, like, would be quoted to be a suicide victim. VTuber thread might be one of the more mentally stable places to talk VTubers compared to Twitter and VT. I'd believe that. I'd absolutely believe that. It's just like fucking... I also don't like how they say that they're often fixated on transgender people. Like, when transgender activists shove this shit in your face fucking constantly, how is it us that are the ones who are fixated on it? And when it turns out that so many of these activists are pieces of shit that participate in really unsavory activities, how is it our fault for pointing out the unsavory activities? Like, I just don't fucking get it. It's like so many weasel words in one article. In response to a request for comment, Moon wrote by email, "Do you still print that rag on a paper? If so, please send a physical copy of your smear piece to the P.O. box listed on the website so I can frame it. Thanks." This guy's fucking funny. Actually based. The campaign against Kiwi Farms began in earnest last summer. Sorrenti, a Twitch streamer who became famous as a news star for trans youth, had been under attack for months by Kiwi Farms users because of what they were doing in regards to these kids, who she said doxed her address and swatted her home, filing a false crime report that drove police to her door. In August, she fled her native Canada for Europe and launched a social media campaign to pressure internet providers to stop protecting the forum using the hashtag #DropKiwiFarms. I like how they say she fled her native Canada for Europe. Except when she got to Europe, she was still posting pictures, right? Fucking Keffels was still posting pictures and showing off where they were located. It's not exactly fleeing if you're giving them the information. We don't want her. Let's talk about the let's talk about the GoFundMe and how that money went to drugs. Let's talk about all the fleecing that they did after the bathtub fucking hormone cocktails. That dumb whore. Twitch streamer, massive tits front and center. I mean, this is like to a different degree. Like, you know how I say, like, male VTubers who don't really feel like they have any way of breaking into the market, they'll just get a female model because they're like, oh yeah, if I have tits, I'll attract the viewers, you know? I have to be Ziz. It's so hard not to actually call the Shine by its real name. It's so hard not to call it by its real name, dude. Oh god, you can't say it here. I'm fucking oppressed by the man. You hate nothing more than dude with big-titted VTubers. If I open a VTuber stream because I see, like, a cute model and I immediately hear, like, Nim's voice coming out of a big-titty slut model, fucking immediate click off. I hate it. Bagster knows how I feel. He knows. Female model male tubers weird you the fuck out. Yeah, it's like, it's not only weird from a regular point of view, but the pipeline of male VTuber to femboy VTuber to big titty VTuber to them actually being transgender is fucking crazy. The amount of people I've seen go from, like, male VTuber, femboy, having a tit model, being transgender. It's a surefire way. Like, anytime there's a guy with a big tit model, I'm like, this thing is gonna come out as trans in like 6 months, I guarantee it. And it's not gonna be like a real transgender thing, because they're not gonna have gender dysphoria. They're just gonna be like so inundated in Coomer brain that they think it's a good idea. It always starts ironically. Yeah, it's an actual social contagion. Just check their rules if they specifically mention alphabet people. I pass! From her home in Vancouver, Fong Jones heard about the harassment against Sorrenti and immediately recognized the tactics. Fong Jones had also been targeted by Kiwi Farms beginning in 2017. I don't even know who the fuck Fong Jones is, but I'm just assuming they're a bad person because they were outed for doing something by Kiwi Farms. Like, anytime someone says that they have been outed by Kiwi Farms, I'm just like, you've probably fucking done something, dude. Like, why would I trust you? I don't trust you. I trust the cute little bird, not you. Liz consent accident Fong Jones? Is the consent accident? I don't know anything about Fong Jones. The name does not ring a bell. They're the one who had a consent accident. That doesn't... I guess they raped someone? Is that what you're trying to say? They were a Keffel supporter and climbed on the Kiwi Farms hate train. I'm wondering how long it's going to take one of my exes to turn into being transgender, considering they apparently started supporting Keffels at some point. Oh god, that's the worst thing, you know? What a phrase, dude. That explains everything. Users published her home address, the names of her biological parents, and a redacted copy of her birth certificate in a thread that included racist and transphobic slurs. Okay, well, that's just normal fucking language. Who cares? You fucking candy ass, dude. A member smeared her online in an attempt to ruin her Google search results and then sent her employers the false information. I just don't believe you. I just don't believe you. The Keffels to trans pipeline is real. Bathtub hormones. Always was. The consent accident was an ex that moaned that Jones violated consent by having a cat that aggravated their allergies. But Jones is too politically correct to stand up to it, so it's funny to bring up. Oh, okay. What the fuck? Though the harassment had died down, Fong Jones still felt compelled to contribute to the Drop Kiwi Farms campaign. She made videos for her YouTube channel explaining Cloudflare's complicity in keeping the site online. Those videos soon reached Catherine Lorelei, a transgender IT worker in Norman, Oklahoma? Why did they shorten Oklahoma as Okla instead of just okay? Or am I crazy? Is this a different place? You wish Girsche could come on and explain everything? Girsche hates anime women. Girsche is racist against my kind, and thus probably will never speak to him. No, it's Oklahoma. That's really weird. I've never seen Oklahoma abbreviated as fucking Okla. Lorelei had never heard of Kiwi Farms and was distraught by what she learned from Fong Jones' presentations. Why is this person wearing, like, the wallpaper from a doctor's office? Why is their face sunken in? This is kind of what it looks like when you lose your teeth, so... Lorelei had been taking gender transition hormones for less than a year and had no connections to activist circles. Beyond wrangling server space, she had never worked on systems that spanned the entire internet, but she volunteered to help, starting as Fong Jones' assistant before stepping up to co-lead the team. I had no idea I had these skills, to be honest. What? What? Why is their pose so fucked? Because they're trying to push out their chest. Like, they're leaning forward and their shoulders are back to make their chest more pronounced, which is why their torso also is at like a weird angle. Attempt at female posture with male skeleton. The group began spending dozens of hours each week navigating the Byzantine web of network infrastructure, trying to ferret out connections between no-name intermediaries to track down Kiwi Farms' new home. Then they would send carefully worded emails to those companies' employees, even cold messaging on LinkedIn, to persuade them to stop working with the website. This is fucking crazy. They can't stand that a bunch of people in a corner of the internet are archiving people doing shitty things while also saying words that you're not allowed to say. Those words are bad, and we can't let you have a corner of the internet where you call people candy-ass Rudy Poos. That's just too far. That sounds like a lot of harassment to me. The group operated in cells in case they were doxxed, but kept track of every internet provider they persuaded to cut ties with Kiwi Farms. Moon had a few major advantages. After earlier attempts to take down the site, he incorporated as his own internet service provider, acquiring his own physical hardware, network resources, and a block of IP addresses, making Kiwi Farms much more difficult to dislodge. It marks the site as a peer on the internet, meaning Moon directly receives any abuse reports and is entitled to a presumption of good faith. I like how they say this like it's a bad thing, and how it should make people worried or scared. This is a good thing. And if they manage to take him offline, imagine the sites they will try to go after next. Like, even if you are someone who for some reason, like, genuinely hates everything that the farm stands for, you need them there. If the farms falls, other sites are going to come under this magnifying glass. Other sites are going to have these harassment campaigns perpetuated against them, and you might not even hear about it. You might just wake up and one of your favorite places is fucking gone the next day. Much like the massive subreddit purge, where any kind of wrongthink was removed from the site. Having internet infrastructure is super important for data security. You know what other kind of group operates in cells? This is just advocating for censorship? Yeah, that's why I said earlier, again, like, I hope it's going to be fucking exhausting, and I'm sure he's fucking sick of dealing with it, but I hope he does not give up. First they came for the autist and I said nothing because I wasn't autistic. Well, actually, I'm a self-diagnosed autistic, but those guys have bad autism. They're Nazi autists. When the team alerted FiberHub, a data center in Las Vegas, to alert the company to the bad actor using their facilities, the center said they merely provided the electricity and power cord, but had no bearing on the servers that kept the site online. Those belonged to Moon's hosting company, originally incorporated under the name Final Solutions, a Nazi reference. FiberHub did not immediately respond to requests for comment. How do you know it was a Nazi reference? Maybe that's you thinking that Nazis are under every single unturned internet stone. Maybe this was just Mr. Moon's final solution to all of your harassment and contacting all of the other people who were trying to keep his website up at the time. Maybe he had nowhere else to turn, and this was his way of saying, this is it. This is my final solution. Imagine trying to police electricity. How come the victims all have fake names, but they use Null's real one? Because they don't think that anonymity is a good thing. And like, it's weird, like you said, because they use like pseudonyms and they're just like, oh, I have to use a pseudonym because these bad people will come after me. It's kind of like they don't realize that they are the bad people that the anonymous people want to protect themselves from in the first place. I guess it's the moral grandstanding that allows them to perpetuate these harassment activities, and they can think that they're good people for doing it. That's like that fucking robber baron cupidity quote that I can never quote correctly. Guess we better build our own infrastructure, currency, and payment processors to support alternative internet? Yeah. Rules for thee, but not for me. They know they're evil. I'd be willing to bet these people do. The people that are actively going after Josh's website, they're not idiots. They're not like unaware of what's happening. They are the evil people who are lying to you and know what they're doing. There's Nazis in the HTML, he said, as they dragged him away to the padded room. They had an 88 at the end of their username. I know what that means. They are mentally ill, though. They're mentally ill. They're definitely mentally ill, but they're not mentally ill in the way that they can claim insanity. They know what they're doing, and they are willfully lying. Maybe better to live under robber barons than under omnipotent moral busybodies. The robber baron's cruelty may sometimes sleep, but those who torment us for our own good will torment us without any end, for they do so with the approval of their own conscience. Yeah, that one. That's the fucking one. I know there's a cupidity word in there somewhere. Ziz has the full quote, it looks like. But I was born in 1988. You were born in 1988 because your mother was a Nazi! She planned it! She knew she was dog whistling when you were born! There's a lot more numbers than 2, which populate the ADL's list of hate speech numbers. Jesus Christ. The group slowly discovered a network of what they called shit hosts, I guess. Low-end internet providers who work with disreputable sites that spread malware or offensive content, arguing that they have a right to free speech. I mean, they do. They do have a right to free speech. And if they call you words that you find offensive, they still have that right to free speech. You can find specific words offensive all you want, but that does not mean that those people do not have the right to say it. Imagine being born on 4/20/1988, literally Giga Hitler. The group had an asset of their own. Clay had been a member of Kiwi Farms in his teens. He was bored, seeking community, pressured by his friends, and going through a libertarian phase, he said. By following the suicide of one of the site's targets, he began to push back on the forum's creed that its victims weren't human. He withdrew from the site after he saw Kiwi Farms members turn their talents for doxing and harassing on other members. Nolan literally in shambles. Offensive speech is free speech. Malware is not. Oh god. I wonder how much of the like doxing other members was actual doxing, or if it was just like their Kiwi Farms username was literally the same name they had on their Facebook. What creed? Apparently the forum's creed is that the victims are not human, question mark. I feel like the closest thing to a creed would be fucking don't touch the shit, you know? Whatever happened to the age-old sticks and stones will break my bones, but words would never hurt me? Now it's sticks and stones are good to use against people who disagree with you, and words are the most violent of all. All of this is literally lies. It's a forum. There is no creed, much less targeting of any sort. I'm more confused by how he's, like, following the suicide of one of the site's targets is what made him look bad. Maybe this is why fucking people hate libertarians. It's like, nobody's actually a libertarian. They're just fucking progressives, but they want to seem like they're haha based. So they say libertarian instead. That's most of the people doxxed. They have their name as their Facebook handle or some shit. That's so fucking dumb. Why would you do that? Fucking Upsec Doko, dude. Wait, this guy says he's a libertarian? He used to, apparently. I do hate libertarians, but my snack flag is so aesthetic. It's more likely that he's not even a real former member. He's just lying for clout. Yeah, probably. It was probably just like, I was there. I was a bored teenager. I knew I'd done wrong, and I knew my mommy would not be proud of me for going on the dreaded Forum of the Fruit Farmers. There was no other place that could strike fear into an average man's heart as seeing that fluffy little bird, its green feathers. The horror! Women would cry, men would fall to their knees, transgenders would hang from the trees. It's just, the sight needed to be stopped. You don't understand. Correction, these people think that sticks and stones can break your bones and words hurt you. You've been doxxed there, you'll full-heartedly say that Kirsche's rights shall not be infringed. His goal in joining Fong Jones and Lorelei's group was to help the forum's users, he told the Post. He pointed to Frederick Brennan, the creator of 8chan, who called for that site to be taken offline after it played a role in the mass shootings in Christchurch, New Zealand, and El Paso. Brennan, he said, wanted to free the user base of that site from being radicalized, from going down a darker path, and that's sort of what I'm doing here. I very much disagree. I don't think the website had anything to do in radicalizing either of the shooters. And on top of that, what was the grocery store shooting in New York? The like information on that shooting in particular was so fucking hard to find. Almost any information that I got from the New York grocery store shooting and the shooting that transgender person did, I think it was in Tennessee, almost all of the information I got from both of those shootings in the beginning of when they happened came from Kiwi Farms. Even Poll wasn't good enough to have enough info on both of those as they were unfolding, and news articles sure as shit were not good enough to have enough information. Like, the manifesto from the Buffalo shooter, the only place I found that at the first place was Kiwi Farms. Like, they provide an actual good service. The tragedy crimes of Kirsche being so widely available prevents all of us from becoming another Kirsche. That's very true. 8chan had literally nothing to do with the shooting. He literally explained in his manifesto that he was specifically trying to get a government overreaction because he was an accelerationist. Yeah. I was like, who says fucking subscribe to PewDiePie? Are we gonna say that PewDiePie fucking radicalized him as well? Come on, dude. It's always funny how these shooters' manifestos and radicalization seem to align with what the left wants to get rid of. That is kind of funny, you know? That is kind of, it really activates your fucking almonds, doesn't it? We're never getting the Tranifesto. We should. I hate that the last time we read about the status of the Tranifesto was that the parents wanted to sue to stop the Tranifesto from coming out. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? If I was a parent and my child just got shot up by some like mentally deranged freak, I would absolutely want to read what they fucking wrote. And I would think other people have a right to read that as well to protect themselves and their children. We still don't have the Columbine media package. Imagine. One day there will be a subscribe to Kirsche moment. Don't say that. Having Clay on board was a game changer. One of the challenges in persuading companies that Kiwi Farms was a bad actor was the site's opaque language. Outsiders might overlook terms such as a TTD, which in Kiwi Farms vernacular means total trans death, using a slur to refer to transgender people. I don't fucking care. Does it matter if they say total slur death or they say total transgender death? Does it really matter if they use the slur? Is that really... I fucking hate these people. Clay could translate this language. Clay's like, I can translate the TND for you. Don't worry about it. I got you. I can tell you all the slurs they're using. He could also show how Kiwi Farms users migrated to Discord servers where they were more explicit about planning attacks. There's no fucking way you are going to get me to believe that they were being more explicit about planning attack on Discord that saves all your fucking logs server side in comparison to being on Kiwi Farms. Clay, I'm sorry, you have lost. Get the fuck out. Like, the amount of lying in this article. Holy shit. Help. Wait till we read how they also became pen pals so they could write hateful letters to each other. Next, he's gonna tell us that they have, like, underground TeamSpeak servers so they can get to know each other's voices and call signs. You remember the Sneed cord? It was mostly shit posting? Yeah. Like, there's no way that people who actively post on the farms would post more incriminating shit on a Discord server. Not that they're posting incriminating things on fucking Kiwi, but it's just like, if you're someone who's posting there, you know that Discord is much more fucking compromised. Like, what? What? They're not lying. They're just reporting on what Keffel said. God. The Keffel's revolution has been a detriment to society, dude. They have radical Minecraft servers where they communicate with signposts. Wouldn't they use Telegram? That's what Girsche was using. I don't know, man. It's fucking radical, explicit, planned attack Discord servers. Even, was it the Buffalo shooter? One of the shooters, like, released all of their shit on their Discord server right before they did the shooting. Even that person was smart enough not to, like, leave a paper trail beforehand. They just uploaded everything at, like, the last fucking minute. It was the Buffalo shooter? Okay. Josh used to give a VIP role to anybody who made him laugh, and Discord mods interpreted them as staff and permaban. Jesus Christ! Imagine the fucking furry freaks of the Discord mod staff being that scared of a bunch of shit posters, man. Smoke signals, let's go back to that. Holy Christ. He led activists to the threads most rife with racism and calls for violence. Hey, yo, I know simple words trigger you into fits of rage and crying and shitting your pants, but, come check out these racial slur threads I got. He confirmed the troll's habit of using the phrase, in Minecraft, to pretend an illegal activity, such as revealing the social security numbers of their targets, was just something they did in an online game. Chat, he cracked the code. How could he possibly have known that when we said in Minecraft, we weren't meaning actually in Minecraft? How could he have done this to us? The military needs to hire him, chat. He's truly the best code cracker that I've ever seen. He was the Kiwi Farms whisperer! They actually fucking said it! Oh my god. These people are so fucking gay. Unironically derogatory. Not because they suck dick, but because they are fucking obnoxious as fucking all hell, dude. Now we know why you really wanted that Pixelmon server. Come, Mind Chat! Join my Pixelmon server and heil to me, your new empress of the white nation. They're huffing their own farts and overdosing on it. Jesus Christ. Clay, in turn, was getting an education of his own. Fong Jones helped him get up to speed on the backbone of the internet, massive networks responsible for publishing or passing along content known as Tier 1 ISPs, as well as the smaller downstream companies that depend on them for global reach. Specialists schooled him in navigating the labyrinthine telecommunications industry. They explained Border Gateway Protocol, the automated routing system that picks the best path for traffic, explained how to leverage Tier 1 ISPs' acceptable use policies, explained how to leverage acceptable use policies. Isn't that basically saying, like, they know that the website's doing nothing wrong to get taken down, but they're going to do their best to use weasel words in order to get ISPs worried enough to get them taken down anyway? Sounds like rules lawyering. Yeah, right? He's obeying the law. Get him! Like, the more I read, the more, like, they sound like genuinely shitty fucking... Like, I knew they were shitty going into reading it, right? But, like, goddamn, they are playing so fucking dirty. I'm surprised Josh was so cordial with them in his email, but I guess he still has to be somewhat professional when he talks to these freaks. Otherwise, he gives them more ammo. The contracts that typically prohibit clients from using networks for theft, hacking, harassment, and other unwanted or illegal activity. In October, the group made a breakthrough. After rotating among web hosts, Moon had settled on Zayo, a company based in Boulder, Colorado. Why did they shorten Colorado to Colo? Who the fuck is writing this? Fong Jones contacted someone at Zayo, a former colleague who was alarmed to learn his company was working with Kiwi Farms, and escalated the matter to senior senior leadership. Kiwi Farms services were soon terminated, and in a statement, Zayo said it concluded that the forum had violated its acceptable use policy, which allows for termination of service. For Fong Jones, it was a wake-up call. There are less than 20 Tier 1 ISPs in the world, and they get a ton of complaints, spam, malware, harmful content. By and large, they try to stay out of such disputes, preferring to assume they are doing business with reputable companies. But the Zayo experience showed that if Fong Jones could reach the right people, top-tier providers were willing to prioritize enforcing their acceptable use policies. So what you're telling me is that you know that Kiwi Farms isn't doing anything wrong, and you're using weasel words in order to convince the companies that they're going to have hard times if they continue providing service to Kiwi Farms, even though nothing bad is happening. And if you reach the right people, parentheses, the people with the right politics who will prioritize you and your weasel words and you're crying over someone who's done literally nothing fucking wrong, you can get them erroneously taken down off the internet, therefore winning and suppressing people whose rights are being taken advantage of. Have I got this all down? Am I up to speed? Your job is to transfer bits. This is a very dangerous precedent to set. Like, just putting it out here that you can manipulate these companies in this way is a terrifying precedent to set. Threats loomed over the group. After her YouTube videos about Cloudflare, Kiwi Farms users posted Fong Jones' home address, social security number, and driver's license. Once Zayo dropped the site, she began receiving death threats by phone. Still, a year after the Cloudflare decision, asking providers to drop Kiwi Farms generates controversy. Last week, the Electronic Frontier Foundation published an opinion piece arguing that Tier 1 ISPs should not bow to pressure to drop Kiwi Farms, calling the move a dangerous step towards censorship. Again, based Electronic Frontier Foundation. If the site in question were Reddit or Planned Parenthood or even EFF, the internet would be up in arms, wrote the foundation, a nonprofit digital rights group based in San Francisco. And this is something that I feel like these people on the left almost never think of. They cannot perceive a situation in which they are the ones not in power and people who disagree with them have the current power that they do. They can't think of a situation where the people who disagree with them, who have all the power, would then do the same suppression and censorship tactics on things they talk about that they're trying to do to these people, right? So it's like, even if you present that scenario to one of these people, which I've done on stream before, even if you present that situation, they will literally counter you with, well, the people who disagree with me are evil or are Nazis, or that wouldn't happen because the public wouldn't elect those people into positions of power. They think that they are in an infallible position where no one that disagrees with them will ever have the same amount of power that they do. It's all about power grabbing, always was. Gonna tell me why they can't think of the situation? It would require the people that use these techniques to outwardly say, yes, we're evil, doing evil things, and we no longer care. And doing that would make them globally hated. So since they claimed the good guy mantle first, no one could possibly oppose them with the same methods. That's true. Ask a leftist how they would feel if they didn't have breakfast, and they would answer, but I did. Alejandra Caraballo, fucking S-queer mention, a clinical instructor at Harvard Law School's cyber law clinic, called that argument misplaced. Fundamentally, EFF fails to acknowledge how power dynamics and asymmetrical threats can act as its own form of censorship. That's why Disney is such a crucial part of the propaganda machine. Gotta keep all the useful idiots convinced as long as they're righteous ones, they can never lose. Yeah, pretty much, you gotta be on the right side of history. As long as you're on the right side of history, the tactics don't matter. By any means necessary, you must triumph. Think of all the people who will be worse off if you don't triumph. Get to see you're absolutely dragged in a congressional hearing? I didn't. Unluckily. Cloudflare CEO Matthew Prince has confessed to mixed feelings. While the company has withdrawn security services for the Daily Stormer and 8chan, both linked to real-world violence, including mass shootings and a deadly riot, Prince argues that revoking services based on reprehensible content sets a dangerous precedent. Wait. If you already revoked hosting for Daily Stormer and 8chan, how can you then say it sets a dangerous precedent? Like, shouldn't you have not withdrawn services if you believed that doing that would set a dangerous precedent? Like, he's kind of acting contrary to what he believes, which is a little weird. Deciding what isn't allowed is the job of governments and regulators, not ISPs and network providers, he said via the messaging app Signal. Still, he added, I don't miss having to worry about Kiwi Farms and their often vile content. I also don't like him saying deciding what isn't allowed is the job of governments and regulators. I know what he means, like, legally, probably, but, like, I still don't like that. It makes me very uneasy. Especially when you think back to all of the bullshit governments did during COVID. No, it's not. Amid that debate, Kiwi Farms remains online without Cloudflare or Zio or any of the 24 other companies that have dropped the forum since the group started in September. Fong Jones says it is down to a limited number of lifelines. Lorelei, who is now committed full-time to trans activism, wants to move on to other causes. Fong Jones is moving on as well. Clay and another one of the younger members of the group plan on carrying the torch. Reflecting on the past year, Fong Jones said it's unreasonable to expect victims of harassment to have to do this work. So you harass the website for like a year, if not longer, and then you just decide, well, I've been a victim of harassment from the little kiwi birds, so you shouldn't expect me to have to do this kind of work. If you were actually a fucking victim, you would want some sort of retribution. And that's like the golden number here in how you know they're lying. The Q-goobers are the harassers. They are, but you're not going to be able to convince them of that. Just victim point farming, pretty much. Mission accomplished. They vilified Kiwi Farms more. They vilified the people that use it more. They got clout. They're able to commit to full-time trans activism and get paid for it because their names are out there. It's true Kiwi Farms keeps finding more providers, she said, but it's a finite list. And this is why we know we're going to win. Well, I hope you fucking don't. I hope Dear Feeder is the one who wins in the end. And it's very likely that he will, because it's not very difficult for a website to outlast a trans activist. I'm tired in my power crusade. Somebody else finish it for me and hand me the crown. Oh, you know if somehow, like, Josh got fucking the journalist treatment, right? Like, woke up with 2 bullets to the back of the head, as like, fucking, he knew something about Hillary Clinton. They would take all the credit for it happening. They'd be like, we did this. We did this, chat. Jesus Christ.